Okay, we are making some battery cells today, battery packs even. So I have this little wrapped up set of 5 individual lithium ion cells, which I salvaged from a broken portable vacuum cleaner thing. So basically, what I'm going to do today is something I've not done before, but I've wanted to try it for a while. Is I'm going to take 2 of these cells and I'm going to wire them together and make a little 2-cell battery pack out of them. So I do find myself powering a lot of things with either lipos or what have you, and they can be a little bit expensive, the little packs, but these were free. I salvaged them, so I'm going to see what I can do. I'm going to make just a little 2-cell battery pack, keep it simple, and then I'll probably use the other 3 to make a 3-cell battery pack. So tools that I'm using, the only kind of unique tools I have. I got this little guy, which is a portable spot welder. Very useful little thing to have. And the reason why I have that is to use this nickel tape as the connector between 2 of the cells. So you use the spot welder to spot weld this onto the cells. The cells, they don't really like heat, so you could just solder wires onto the backs of these, but the cells themselves don't really like to be heated up that much. And the spot welder is a fraction of a second where it gets very hot and bonds to it, but then it cools down almost immediately, so the batteries don't get damaged from the heat. So yeah, nickel tape. Get yourself, if you're doing this, get yourself a pair of tin snips. Makes cutting the tape very, very easy. You can cut them with normal snips, but in my experience it's a lot harder. Tin snips, way better. And some Kapton tape. So this is just insulating, heat proofing. It's going to be good to wrap the batteries up. The only thing I'm missing for this project to make it fully finished is I have some kind of vinyl shrink wrap stuff that's on its way, which I'll be able to use then to wrap up the final package, but unfortunately I don't have that yet. So that'll be the very, very last step of it anyway, so I can basically build the whole functional battery, just won't have the final wrapping on it. So yeah, I'm gonna jump in, start working away. Before I do though, one warning, I suppose: please don't try this at home unless you absolutely know what you're doing. This isn't intended to be a how-to guide, I'm just showing what I'm doing here. These batteries can be extremely dangerous if they're handled improperly. If you short them out, they can cause a lot of problems. So please do not try this at home unless you absolutely know what you're doing. With that over with, let's go. So the first thing that needs to be done is, so the way you need to wire these together is like this. So negative, positive to negative, and then that becomes, so individually they have a positive side and a negative side. So what I want to do is connect the positive here to the negative here, like that. Then imagining this is one big battery now, this is the new positive and that is the new negative for the entire cell, which gives me twice the voltage. So the voltage in series adds together. So these are individually 3.65 odd volts. So then you connect them up in series and you end up with about 7.4 volts or so. So that's the idea. Now, 2 things you need. So you need to basically solder a wire to here and a wire to here. Those are your 2 output wires, they're your actual connections. But if you want to charge it using a balance charger, then you need 3 other wires. So the way that works is you take another wire off the negative, another wire off the positive, and then at the junction between the cells you take another wire. So basically there will be a nickel strip along here, and off this nickel strip there'll be a third wire. So then those 3 wires are what will be connected to a little JST connector, and that will become your balance wire then for balance charging, to connect to the balance charger. So the idea is that each 3 wires will have essentially 3 voltages. 0 volts reference to the battery, 0 volts as is referenced from the battery, the main output voltage of the entire cell, and then 1 for the intermediary. And that's how it works with multiple cells. So there'll always be 1 more wire than there are the number of cells in the battery. If that makes sense. So we have 2 cells, 3 wires. If you had 3 cells, 4 wires, and on like that. So effectively each balancing connector gives you the voltage of everything kind of down from it, between it and ground. And then the smarts in the balance charger works it all out as to what the voltages are on what cells and all that sort of stuff. Okay, so thing I want to have the wire coming off of the little thing that I'm gonna have connected in between there. So I'm gonna solder the wire onto the nickel strip first, before we do anything else, because that way I won't be introducing heat into the cell once it's been welded on. And then the same with the outputs. I'm not going to solder the output wires onto these. I'm going to solder the output wires onto a little piece of the nickel strip, and then I'll spot weld the nickel strip onto this, and then the output wires will be there. So again, avoid putting heat onto the cells. So I'm going to do that soldering first. So now for this guy, which is a bit of a mad device. So basically connect up these big heavy leads, and then turn it on, and it's ready to go. So it works in kind of an interesting way. Turn it on, and then you can sort of set the power by tapping this button. Sets up to max power, and then back down to minimum power. So the way it works, these 2 electrodes are now basically ready to go. So what you need to do is you put them fairly close together on a conductive surface, and then when you hold them down, once the device registers that there's basically a short between the 2, it has a little timer built into it that sort of waits for an amount of time, and then it dumps the power through it, and that's where you get your little spot weld. So I'm just going to test out that power setting I have it on with another piece of nickel strip. So I'll just cut off 2 little bits and try and spot weld them together. Do it on this little base. Ideally I would have something like I don't want to do it straight on this. Ideally I would have some other sort of surface, but let's just see what happens here now. And there it is. It makes a little tiny beep, and there you have it. You can barely even see it. Such a fine little joint, and those 2 are stuck together now, which is a bit mad. But yeah, that's it. So if I crank up the power, you should get like bigger, deeper sort of spot weld. Ooh, there we go. So there was a little tiny spark that time, and you can see it's deeper, and that will be just a bigger surface area, but doesn't necessarily mean it's stronger though. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go with the lowest setting for this, because I don't think it's gonna need anything more. So now onto the batteries. Notice as well, I haven't stripped the end of this wire because I want to make sure that when I'm soldering on the other ones that I don't have any exposed ends that I could short accidentally. So okay, so next step, the 2 contact pads for this guy. I like these big beefy T-style connectors for battery stuff, so I'm going to use these as the main power ports on this battery, and then I'll use some of this, again, this smaller wire for the balance leads. Okay, so that is functionally the battery done. So let's check my ports here, and yep, still have my 7.32 volts. All right, so that's cool. So this is, yeah, more or less a finished lithium ion battery cell. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to use my Kapton tape. I'm going to start wrapping up the battery basically, which is going to be just sort of a protective layer, help to insulate all these connections and to prevent shorts and that kind of thing. And then also it'll act as some strain relief. Damn it. Guess it really was running out. So yeah, but when that's charged, I'll redo this and then I'll wrap it in Kapton tape, and that'll help act as some strain relief for the connectors as well. Cool. Okay, so I'm gonna do that next. All right, we're almost done. Batteries wrapped up. Nothing special about this, just kind of roughly wrapped up. The only really important thing that I definitely wanted to make sure was that on this end that there was some insulation between both of those guys, which there is. So the tape runs up from the outside over, so that means that these two guys, if they became disconnected, they shouldn't short out across each other. So that's good. Yeah, so there's a bit of tape. Put some strain relief on, which is some normal black electrical tape. But yeah, it's a fairly solid little unit. Feels okay. And yeah, the voltage is measuring right across them. So last thing to do is to do up the balance leads, which are usually just a little JST connector. The only tricky part here is I need to do this and make all the connections without touching them across each other, because I don't want to short anything out while I'm working on this, because that could be bad. So I'm going to try and make that happen next. eBoop has a commercial lipo, and there's his balance lead. 3 wires. So looking at it from the smooth surface like this, the ground wire is there. It's on the outside there. Okay, so that means this guy plugs in like that. There we go. Okay, now the other thing is I need to measure voltages. So if I'm measuring between, see, I need to measure each pin. That's 7 volts. That's 3 volts. Okay. So I'm going to strip the next wires, and I got to figure out which one goes where. So one of these should read 3.6, and one should read 7.2, 7.3 odd, and then they have to go in order. So ground 3.65, 7.32. Okay. Okay. Oh, yes, 3.6. That's convenient. There you have it. Here's a finished 2-cell battery with balanced charging leads. Check all my voltages one more time for sanity's sake. Make sure I have this, yep, it's all connected up the right way. So I've got ground, that's giving me 3.6, that is giving me 7.32, this is giving me 7.32. Okay, so I believe that is officially a finished lipo cell or lithium ion cell battery. Looks a bit rough. Probably is a bit rough. Don't know how much I would trust this thing. It looks slightly bomb-like to me, but you know, we'll see. I'm gonna try it out. I've got my balance charger here, so it has a specific mode for lions. So yeah, I'm gonna connect that up and yeah, see what happens. Should charge, I guess. I'm gonna charge it at a very low current setting, and I'm gonna charge it inside its lipo bag, and I'm gonna do it out in the shed with a bucket of sand beside me. So yeah, let's hopefully this all works, and yeah, there's no trouble. Anyway, yeah, let's see what happens. So I took the battery and the charger out to the shed, where I thought it'd be a little bit safer if there was anything going to go wrong. And lo and behold, it charged absolutely fine. Exactly as I was expecting to. I was, a little bit conservative with the charging current, kept it nice and low. And yeah, it worked pretty much perfectly. I'm still not 100% sure I trust it, because I did make it myself and I haven't really used it yet. So I think I'm going to keep it out in the shed. But then this also brings up another safety point, where I do kind of have a collection that's growing of lipo batteries and that kind of thing, which ideally I'd want to actually not store in the house in case there was ever anything to go wrong with them. So I've ordered a couple of more fire bags, and while talking to my dad about this exact problem, he mentioned that he had an old ammo tin, like army style ammo tin, that he had that was just lying around the place. So he graciously gave me that, and I've done a little bit of cleanup work on it, and that's going to become the extra layer of safety. So
all my batteries are going to go into fireproof bags inside the metal ammo tin, which is going to live out in the shed. So hopefully that's all safe enough, and I don't burn my house down or anything, because, you know, that'd be bad. Anyway, I hope you liked this video. I hope you learned something from it. Please don't try what you saw at home, but still, I hope it gave you some inspiration, or, you know, was at least interesting for you. If you'd like to help support the work that I'm doing, you can find a link in the description to my Patreon. And of course, like, subscribe, share with your friends. And as always, guys, thanks for watching.